Hello again, it's Kate Wiseman, back to read chapter 3 of Gangster School. Still back to front, I'm sorry. I hope you're all well, keeping busy, keeping well, doing lots of interesting stuff, reading and writing and things like that, which are the best. Here's chapter 3. The woods gave way to slightly overgrown lawns. Dotted at intervals around this natural boundary were half a dozen outbuildings, some looking like sheds, while others had curtains and painted doors. But Milly's eyes were drawn to the main building. It had the thick black and white half-timber walls of a quaint Tudor cottage, but it was built on an enormous scale, spreading upwards and outwards in every direction. Kind of like a cross between an old inn and a presidential palace, Milly thought. Standing at either end of the thatched roof were towering statues of rearing bears made from the same material. Just as Milly was thinking that all was needed to complete the picture of rural bliss was a flock of sheep nibbling in the lawns, a shaft of September sunlight caught a spot of red, no, 2 spots of red, in the face of the nearest bear. She nudged Charlie and pointed. "Do you see that? That bear's got red eyes." Charlie peered upwards. "Oh yeah, security cameras. We've got something similar at home. Not in bear statues, though. Look, their heads move round too so they can check out the whole area. Never seen that before." He returned to inspecting the massive studded front door. "That looks like it could have been pinched from the Tower of London." It probably was. Sir Thomas Blackguard, the school's founder, was famous for not wasting money if he could steal something instead, Milly said. She thought about it and added, "And anyway, I expect he'd want to set a bad example." As Miss Martinet had predicted, the rest of the Year Sevens were waiting by the door. There were half a dozen of them, some trying to control their trembling lips, others hunching their shoulders and kicking angrily at the wood. Miss Martinet gave them a small, sympathetic smile. Not quite like that. She paused with one foot on the shallow steps that led up to the door. "Before we cross Blackguard's threshold, you need to be aware of something important. In our prospectus, we make a simple promise: future infamy assured. That means we guarantee to make you into famous villains. Any student who is unable or unwilling to live up to this will be expelled faster than a fabrication teacher can make up a fib. Blackguard's rejects always end up at Crumley's School for Career Criminals, where they don't last long. Crumley's prides itself on turning out the most unpleasant felons in the world. The survival rate among Crumleyans is something like 50%. Think criminal, and you won't be adding to that statistic." At the mention of Crumley's, the Year Sevens moved closer together. Charlie leant over and muttered to Milly, "Yikes! Being sent to Crumley's is a fate worse than death. Got to avoid that." "Yep, that's something we really—" Griselda Martinet's deep voice interrupted her. "The short girl with the attitude and the tall boy with the hair. I'm usually in favour of talking over the teacher, as long as that teacher isn't me. As it is me, I'd like to suggest that you shut up and pay attention." "Wonderful. Now come in." As she was speaking, she punched the buttons on another keypad. The door didn't swing open, as Milly had expected. Instead, it slid sideways and disappeared into a thin recess. The reception area at Blackguard's was a spacious white room. Spotlights were embedded in the ceiling between timber beams. There was a row of pristine armchairs pushed against one wall, opposite a cabinet crammed with trophies and framed certificates. The floor was made from tiny mosaic tiles in black, white, silver and gold. Milly examined the circular design with interest. It looked as if people had been working on it for centuries. In the centre was what seemed to be the oldest part. It depicted Blackguardians in striped doublets and ruffs, shinning up ropes into castles and relieving knights of their armour and horses. Around these were Victorian Blackguardians in black and white frock coats, attaching sticks of dynamite to safes or holding up steam trains. Others carried victims into closed carriages. The newest parts of the design were around the edges. In these, the Blackguardians wore modern uniform, and they worked at computers or stole missiles or dragged their enemies into sleek cars and armoured vans. A muscular receptionist sat at a black marble desk, frowning at a bank of video monitors that Milly could easily imagine guarding the Bank of England. On one side of the desk was a tall vase filled with a bouquet of holly leaves and deadly nightshade. Dotted around the room were a number of unusual portraits. Taking pride of place on the wall behind the desk was a detailed sketch of a snub-nosed man with a pudding bowl haircut. Above the man's head were the words, "Wanted, 100 groat reward." Beneath the portrait was a little golden placard reading, "To Thomas Blackguard, our beloved founder, his first wanted poster." Just to one side of this there was a frayed noose in a glass case. There was a light above it, illuminating the rusty blood that speckled it. "That's the noose that finished off Sir Thomas. His reward had increased a lot by then," Milly murmured to Charlie. He wrinkled his nose. To the left of the noose was a painting of a peachy-cheeked man waving a lacy hanky. He looked like he'd be more interested in curling his hair than committing villainy. "Sir Brian de Bohun, the devilish dandy, our most successful student," read the sign beneath it. There was a smaller picture beneath Sir Brian, showing a massive black dog with a pointed snout. According to this little placard, this was Humbug, Sir Brian's attack dog, 11 confirmed kills. On Sir Thomas's other side was a glowering photograph of Griselda Martinet, stretching her sharp-nailed hands towards the photographer. At the top of the photo was a stark message: "Large reward, do not approach." The little sign beneath the picture read, "G. Martinet, current head. Do not reveal her presence here." The Year Sevens looked at their head teacher in awestruck silence. Miss Martinet nodded to the receptionist and picked up a pile of papers from the marble desk. She led the new Blagardians down a corridor towards some stairs. The deep blue carpet smelt of newness, and Milly breathed in deeply to enjoy it. Miss Martinet pointed out useful landmarks. Girls' changing rooms to the left, boys to the right. "Once you've been here a few months, we'll change your locker combinations regularly to give you some safe-cracking practice. For now, just enter a combination of your choice. And remember, honour among thieves. You will not break into other students' lockers. Your bedrooms are up these stairs. You'll see them later." She handed out the papers she'd collected in reception. "Now, these are your timetables. You've got 10 minutes to change into your uniforms. Then your criminal education will begin." Okay, end of chapter 3. Hope you're enjoying it. Hope it gives you some ideas for some reading and writing of your own. Maybe, as I said before, I think you could design your own school. Could teach anything, couldn't it? Anything at all that you're interested in. You could design a curriculum. You could think of the teachers who work there. You could work out how the lessons would work. Have a think and stay safe and well, and I'll be back another day.